In many Cameroonian communities, the question of whether children born out of wedlock should be brought into their marital home remains a deeply sensitive and complex issue. Often these children are the result not only of consensual relationships, but sometimes of tragic circumstances such as rape, domestic violence, or abandonment for many mothers, especially those rebuilding their lives after marriage or going through marriage. The decision to integrate such children can lead to emotional turmoil, societal judgment, or outright rejection from society. These conversations shed light on the cultural, societal, and psychological implications of both mothers and children, particularly girls who are too often caught in the crossfire of stigma and silence. It's Women and Leadership on Canal International. We'll be right back after the jingle. When women are empowered, they educate future generation, promote peace and drive development, and help reduce poverty. They are more likely to invest in their families and communities, leading to healthier and more resilient societies. If you have missed the past editions, you can just go to our YouTube page. You type Canal International, you type Women and Leadership, you type the thematic of that day, and you can watch all our past editions. And let the conversation begin just after the jingle. And it's time for us to know our guests. Like in all our past editions, we always invite the right person for the thematic of that day. And today, we've invited just the right persons and some regular faces. And I'll start with the person at my left. She is called Dr. Fawn Elizabeth. She is Chief Executive Officer of Toujours Family Center. She's been medical doctor for over 35 years. She is a life coach. Well, like how to tell us more about Toujours and to tell us if a lot of women have been knocking at her door, prove that maybe women are going through a lot in terms of marriage. We have domestic violence, and up to now we have 29 women in Cameroon that have been killed with domestic violence.
Yeah, Maureen, thank you for having me, and I'm always so glad to be here to share experiences. I mean, real life experiences from Toujours. Toujours means Team Spirit Holistic. And our vision is to build healthy communities from healthy relationships. We believe that if someone has healthy relationships at home and at work, they are mentally balanced and they are very productive. So, Toujours is all about relationships. Now, talking about women and what they are going through, sometimes they need somebody to listen to them without judgment and offer them help. That's what we are there
And that's
for.
what Toujours has been doing for
Yes.
more than a decade now.
Oh yes, over 15 years now. That's what we are doing. And it's so good to know that you don't need to carry the burden alone. Somebody is there to walk along with you.
Okay, we equally have Barrister Winnie. She's advocate and solicitor before the Cameroon and Nigerian Bar Association, managing a partner of GCF. Am I correct? Avocat GFC. I always say GCF or JCF. Advocate Cameroon, a law firm. She's into tax and legal law firm, trying to sensitize women to know their rights in that domain. Now, you recently organized a workshop where you brought in women, try to make sure that women are on track when it comes to taxation laws and the rest. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Maureen, for inviting me. It's my utmost pleasure to be part of this talk. So recently, as you rightly said, we organized a workshop entitled Éclosion des talents féminins. That's the empowerment of women entrepreneurship. The objective of this workshop was to give a hand of help through our legal tax counseling to all these women that are into business, because we realize that most of them don't develop because they fail to have the right legal and tax counseling. So it went on well. We had about 20 projects received from women, and at the end of the workshop we selected 3, and they obtained financial subventions and legal and tax counseling for 1 year free of charge.
Thank you so much. We equally have Linda Limbi Tabo. She is an entrepreneur. She is a corporate social responsibility consultant, an expert in that domain. I would like her to tell us more about herself. You're welcome to the program, Linda.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you for having me on this platform. It's always a pleasure to be here to talk about women and leadership. I am an entrepreneur, I am a consultant and an expert in corporate social responsibility and sustainability. I do run 2 organizations. There's a KB Empower Foundation, which actually focuses on social impact initiatives with corporations, and of course, our Roots and Suits Empower business, which helps companies to scale the governance and execution of their corporate social responsibility initiatives. Yes, of course, we focus on a lot of activities as well that look at girls and women. And of course, it's just going to be a great thing for us to discuss on this topic today.
Thank you so much, Linda. We equally have Florence Manzie Mbu. She is an entrepreneur, caterer by profession, but wants her to tell us more about herself. You're welcome to the program, Florence.
Thank you, Maureen, for having me as usual. It's always my pleasure being at Canal International. Besides all what you said, I am a humanitarian, an advocate and caregiver with the Ashwebe Foundation. And I'm pleased to discuss more about everything that will be said here.
All right, thank you so much. Before we get into the core of today's subject, I want us to watch these stories about a young girl now 13. She's out of school for almost 2 years now because she was raped and sodomized by the mother's husband, let's say the step father. She's highly traumatized. It's a story that wants other mothers to learn from it and see how they can protect their girl children when they're into a marriage. Let's watch this story. We'll be right back after the jingle.
Days go by, yet the pain and trauma linger. 13-year-old Meve carries what feels like a lifetime weight on her shoulders. She is one of the few rape victims who have broken the silence. But how did we get here?
Le mari de ma mère, il prenait les fils rouges, il attache mes 2 mains et mes 2 pieds. Il prenait les tissus déchirés et il scottait ma bouche avec le scotch noir. Maintenant, il me donne 2 petits comprimés pour que je bois. Je dis maintenant à mon père que je ne peux pas boire ça. Il me donne toujours pour que je bois. Après maintenant, il commence à me déshabiller. Il se déshabille. Il monte sur moi.
The horror recounted by the teenage girl has persisted for 2 years now. Her stepfather is her alleged tormentor, undressing her every nightfall. The scene of these atrocities is the Bonamatombe neighborhood in Douala 4 subdivision.
Et quand il m'a fait part, je suis partie vers le monsieur, lui ai demandé, il a nié. Il m'a dit que non, ce n'était pas vrai. Ça a causé trop de problèmes, trop de dégâts. Il m'a beaucoup menacé de mort et je suis restée tranquille. Et maintenant, je voulais donc contrôler, surveiller. Il y avait des jours où il y avait un bidon d'eau qu'il avait posé, que je devais toujours... Il m'a dit que c'est bon, quand je rentre, c'est pour contre la fatigue. Je dois boire ça. Ça va me soulager.
The stepbrother who tries to rescue her also becomes a target of molestation. The perpetrator orders the 2 teenagers to remain silent, threatening them and their family members. Even the police, he claims, will do nothing.
Quand il faisait ce forfait, il attachait l'enfant, la main, la bouche avec le scotch noir. Il disait que tu n'as personne dans ta famille. Mais l'enfant lui a fait comprendre lors de l'affrontation à la PJ que j'ai Dieu. Parce qu'ils ont été affrontés face à face à la PJ, que j'ai Dieu.
Doubtful after several alerts from her family and daughter, the mother finally confronts her husband, who in turn denies the accusations. Informed months later of these atrocities, the victim's biological father requests a medical examination. The result is alarming. Little Meve was allegedly abused repeatedly, both anally and vaginally, affecting her chances of procreation. The accused has been apprehended by the judicial police and investigations have been happened. Meanwhile, the trauma has taken a heavy toll on Merveille's education, leading to poor academic performance and anxiety about societal perceptions. She attended her last lesson in Form 1, all because of a horrific experience beyond her control.
Même apprendre, je ne pouvais même plus bien apprendre. C'est pour ça que quand je pars à l'école, je ne connais même plus ce que je vais écrire. Souvent, ils restent en classe et commencent à pleurer. Mes amis disent que tu pleures pourquoi? Je dis que rien. Et parce que je ne voulais pas dire à mes amis, ils ne savaient qu'ils devaient se moquer de moi.
Psychology experts highlight the real risk of trauma for victims like Merveille.
Almost 75% of the case of rape is close to us. Like, it's people that knows you very well that come and rape you. And the justice at the moment, at this time, have to do something.
Others recommend an empathetic approach towards rape victims, free from social stigma. They emphasize the importance of affection to help rebuild their reintegration into society.
One of the crimes that's mostly underreported is the case of rape. That's why even to get statistics and data about rape scenarios or rape cases, they are very, very rare.
A girl who has been raped needs Alice, not eyes that look away or just judge her. She's not the one who should feel ashamed. We are the one who must find the courage to break the silence.
Another helpful suggestion is removing victims from their toxic environment.
We must take her out of that toxic environment. Even if the abuser is a family member, she shouldn't be the one to live in silence. No, absolutely not. It's up to us to break the silence for her. If we want the victim to be reintegrated into the society, we don't have to put some kind of barrier or to think that what happened to her is because of her fault. No, we have to show her some love. You know, love heals. Justice liberates, but silence always destroys people.
In Cameroon, many rape victims face judgment and are left without psychosocial support. For young girls like Merveille, such support is crucial for rekindling dreams that may have been dashed by their horrific experience.
After watching that story, it's a very painful story of a young girl, 13, that is out of school, raped, sodomized, highly traumatized. As we speak right now, she tried even killing herself just a week ago, and she wanted to drink a bleach, but she was, caught by other family members. Quite a pathetic situation that provoked us to do today's topic. And I quickly want to go to Dr. Von Elizabeth. Getting a story like that, how does it feel as a mother?
I just put myself in that child's place and I ask myself what I would do. You know, these are things that cause children to commit suicide. The child tried to commit suicide. She doesn't have support. She feels that she's not loved. She feels that the world is against her. Even God, she might think that God is against her. So, it's so touching. I put myself in that place and I wonder.
Barrister Winnie, I think we don't want to judge the child here, not the mother, but in a situation like that, how does it feel? Who do you blame here?
Okay, thank you, Maureen. You know, in this type of circumstances, as a legal counsel and as a mother, I feel devastated because I put myself in the shoes of that child, in the shoes of the mother, in the shoes of the family. Because to have a child, a daughter that is victim of all the sexual abuses, you ask yourself, did she ask to be delivered in that family? Did she ask to be delivered out of wedlock? What is her own, role? Why? She will ask so many questions, and us as legal counsels, we have this utmost duty to sensitize, because most women, when they go into wedlock, they don't try to get counsel. I'm getting into this with my child. What should I do?
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about here. Linda, can we say the child is a victim of circumstances here?
So many things come in my mind when it happens this way. It's devastating to hear that a young girl like that is being abused by a stepfather.
And she's not the only one, because we have a lot of them out there. You know, families who denounce such things, they keep it in the families.
Exactly.
So that you can even hear is just one of many other cases that go unreported.
Yeah, it's pathetic because we live in a society where people still think that situations like this are stigmatizing, you know, families or are taboos. Meanwhile, we need to raise our voices and talk about them. It's unfortunate that the mother wasn't able to pick up when red flags were being flown, because I'm sure they were, but she wasn't probably out of, you know, her incapacity to deal with the situation, wasn't able to place her hand on what went wrong. Poverty too could be a situation that would have caused a thing like that to happen. And for a young girl who does not have that space to be able to express herself when such a thing happens, is such a pathetic situation. And I think that we need to encourage mothers to create trustworthy relationships with their children right from base. Be able to talk to our children, let them open up to us and have this conversation, so that in case of any situation like this, children can speak up and speak up quickly, so that we can also intervene on time.
Now, Florence, now in a situation like that, how should the mother act? Put yourself in the mother's
Our
shoes.
society today is sick.
Discovering that that's what has happened to your daughter, how should that?
The society is sick. The parents are sick. The children are sick. It is dark all over. But there's a need for something. As a parent, sometimes you don't find the right words in such situations. You begin to ask yourself, what is the aim of striving this much? And you just have question marks all around you. But there's surely an answer somewhere, and we'll get to that.
All right. Now, Doctor, I want us to get to the topic of the day, which has to do with should mothers take their children born out of wedlock to the marital home? That is the question we are asking.
Before you take your child into marriage, you have to stop and think. Examine the situation very well. Know the risk. Know the risk that you are taking. And if the risks are high, leave your child with your parents. Our parents used to do that. You know, whenever a girl...
And when your parents are no more?
If your parents are no more, maybe you talk about it with the man you're going to get married to. Yes. There is this risk of rape from you. What are we going to do about this? And the man will promise that, no, I'm going to take your daughter like my own daughter. It means that when the red flags start showing, you tell him, hey, watch out. This is not very comfortable with me. For example, a husband buys an expensive phone for your daughter and he doesn't buy a phone for you. Or he decides to take your daughter out without taking you out. Those are red flags, right? Yes, and you should talk about that with him so that you nip it in the bud before it develops to something. Because we are talking about rape like this. Sometimes when it starts, the child starts enjoying it. The child might even go to the stepfather to ask. It happens. So the mother should be very, very observant, very alert, and look out for the red flags.
Now, Linda, is it possible for us to take your child? If you have a child of wedlock, will you take the child into marriage?
Yes, of course, I would do that. I have my children in wedlock today that, you know, from a previous marriage, and I think it's doable. Like Doctor says, the conversations with your spouse at the beginning is key.
Okay.
Very important. First, you need to find out even who you're getting into marriage with. It's important. We do not take time to do intelligence profiling on the people we want to relate with. You need to find time. Courtship would be that space that would lead you to be able to know that this is a good person or not, and this is somebody with whom I want to entrust my children with. Because you're entrusting your children with this person. Imagine that with the case of this young girl you're talking about, the mother leaves and goes to work or goes for a business. It means that you're entrusting this child into the hands of your husband. Is this person worthy enough? Can this person take care of my child? Yes, it's doable, but then the foundations must be set and set right.
Now, do you talk with the man?
Of course, that's what I'm talking about. This conversation has to be done.
There's a conversation at the beginning.
At the beginning,
and
it's
you
important.
have your girl. You
Of
have the
course,
girls.
You have the girls. You need to talk with your spouse that these are my girls, and these girls eventually become your children. That's the conversation. You know, it shouldn't be like, yes, they're coming from another father, but then the fact that you and I are getting into a relationship today, into marriage,
like your own children.
there is love, there is care, there is a sense of belonging, and these children should become a part and parcel of this new marriage. But then these are things that should be consented between you and your spouse, and it's agreed from the beginning.
Yeah.
If these things are not agreed, then these are red flags. You need to start thinking whether it's important or necessary for you to get into this relationship or not.
And when the children grow up, let me interrupt, you need to educate your daughters too.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
There are things that they shouldn't do around the house, like expose themselves. Men are visual. They shouldn't expose themselves. And if they find some kind of behavior that makes them uncomfortable, they should come to you and talk about it.
All right, Barrister, we need a foundation. The foundation matters, right?
Yeah.
In such a relationship. Now, what foundation are we talking about here? How do you build that foundation? How do you create it at the beginning?
Okay. From a legal point of view, mothers going into marriage with their children, they must first of all know that their child they have the same rights with the child that is going to be delivered in wedlock.
Really?
Yes, they have the same rights. With the recent development, legal development, we have the UN Convention, which states that children, they have the same rights, whether they are legitimate or natural. So once the woman already knows that my child has the same right with the one that is delivered in wedlock, she can come in, because you can't ask the mother to make the choice between motherhood and love. That would be too much for her. So once she comes in, she will now ask, as Dr. Wiley said, try to educate the child also, because the child must know that yes, I have the same right, but this man is not my father. So what are the precautions that I can take? It's my place. This is where I have to be. But the precautions I have to take is that, okay, I don't have to expose myself. I have to be conscious of the fact that yes, I have my rights here. But it's true that he seems to be my father, but from a legal point of view, he's not actually my father. So
not my biological father.
This is not my biological father.
Yes. So anything can happen. So they need to educate the child, educate the husband also, and educate the mother how they need to take care of all those elements so that the child's rights should be protected in that new home.
All right, Clara, we're talking about biological parents here. Is it easier for the child to accept the man as a biological father, and the man accepting the child as the biological daughter or son or whatever, or children?
I think we
that
have
the man does not harm the children. He accepts, actually accepts the children like his.
I think in families there are still many taboos that we have to break, definitely.
Okay.
If we do not break those taboos, we will have a problem of biological or not biological. There will be a problem, because a man is a man, a child is a child. There should be boundaries. We should set them. We should discuss them. Those are topics that should be more relevant than going to search for windbread. And I mean, we have to put the family at the center of it. It has to take its place.
And what are those taboos?
Talking. There's special communication. We have to establish a communication between parents and children between themselves, and then it becomes even more dangerous when it is somebody you consider as a stranger, because when you begin to stress on biological or not, even the new father does not consider himself like part of the family. There's definitely something going wrong. So if we have to iron that up, we have to sit around a table. Exactly. It's not a conference, but we have to talk.
Yes. Now, doctor, now that the woman has accepted or agreed, discuss to the man that, okay, these are my children, I had them out of wedlock, now I love you, and we are getting into a new marriage. It's a new beginning, but these are my children. So what's the responsibility of the woman at that point, at that start?
I think the first thing is that the woman, before you get into the relationship with the man, discuss with your child. Because we know blended families where they go into marriage without the children even knowing.
Exactly.
You know, the children just realize that, call him daddy. He is not my daddy. You must call him daddy. What starts from there?
Communication.
Communication. So you discuss with your child. Tell your child that I'm going to get married to a new man. He's not your daddy. There are certain ways that we are going to get used to him. And I'm hoping that you and I will be teammates, meaning that if something does not seem right to you, come and tell me. I'm here to protect you. My job is to protect you. And even the children that I will have in the marriage, I'll protect them, but in different ways. So you talk to your child, say, do you want me to marry this man? I need your permission.
And what did the man, did the children say no? And your love,
the children will surely say no. Why? Because they did not bank on coming into this world to have their parents under different roofs, their biological parents. So they would say no. But that's okay. Give them time to mourn for the relationship that should have been between their biological parents. When they've mourned and they've accepted, because they start by refusal, then there's anger, then there's depression, then they get to acceptance. When they accept, then you thank them, you can now go ahead. Give them time to accept that man. And then you set the boundaries like we say. Yes, when they know all of that, then they will know that they can come to you. You sought their opinion. You think that they are important. Their opinion matters.
They are taken into consideration.
Yes, they are taken into consideration. They are valued. And so they can come to you later on.
But Florence, our mothers, we didn't see this with our mothers, like taking children out of wedlock into marriages. You are seeing it today. Why?
I personally, I won't leave my child.
Why?
Because I am responsible for something. Sometimes you may even take your child, it doesn't work. You may leave your child and it works. In my culture, when you went into marriage, they gave you a child that was considered like as your first child. So definitely, taking a child into a relation is not something strange, but how does it go about? That's the problem. So if I'm going somewhere and I have to take my child, I'll take my child. Now, everybody has a place, but this place should be negotiated. I still come back to communication, because most of the time we just love, and then we go for love. We do not think, we do not reason. Sometimes we don't have to, we don't love with our heart, we have to love with our mind, with our everything. I think this is...
Do you measure the consequences when you're taking the child along? Do you measure
of course,
consequences?
Of course.
Like you know that this is, I mean, I'm putting the first step before this as a woman and all of that.
If you are going into a relationship with a man, this person has to know how you are coming. They are not just coming, it's not a rendezvous gala in a restaurant for 1 minute. It's a whole life something. So everything that goes around that relationship, the baggage you bring in, should be considered. You take me with my child or you leave me.
No, the thing is that there's a problem. Because you fall in love with that part of the brain that is called the limbic brain. It does not know reason, logic, or language. That's why when somebody is in love, they don't reason. You can talk to them, they won't reason. So this work should be done before they fall in love. If they fall in love, they don't reason again. They will just take any decision. So what you're saying is right. But before they fall in love. And when they fall in love, the honeymoon is so sweet. After the honeymoon, a few months, reality hits.
Let me add something, Maureen, please. Nowadays, we need to rethink the way we even love. This je t'aime et moi and so on is past. You see what all of you have in common. Why are you building something together? What do you bring, what do I bring? It's 50-50.
Please.
Definitely.
That thing is breaking marriages. What are you bringing to the table? Has broken.
No, I'm not talking about income.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about psychologically.
All right.
You have something to bring. If you have nothing to give, don't go there.
That a man can no longer get married to maybe to a village girl that has nothing. She just
no. It does not mean that a village girl has nothing. He brings in whatever he brings. She thinks and she sets things up. She brings something, definitely.
The fact that you're getting her as a spouse means she has something.
She has something to offer.
Village girl, literate girl, or whoever has something.
In marriage, you don't have a school, or it's not a classroom. It is a relationship you are building. You are supposed to work out something. It is a project. Let me call it that. It is a project. You bring in what you have to bring in.
But is this how African setting is? Because I think Europeans do it as a project. What a man brings, what a woman brings. Have we come to that stage in Africa where we are?
Even our parents used to bring. Even our parents.
Yes.
Our parents used to call our mothers mama. That was a high sign of respect. It's not like today men talk to women anyhow. This thing did not start today. Our parents used to have a great respect for the women. They did not do things without, they did things that people saw, but at the background, the women were there. We had queens, we had in the royaumes, and we had women. Women were leaders since. So these new issues, they kind of cause some problems to me, really.
Barrister Winnie, do we have advantages Does the advantage weigh more than the negativity when you're taking a child born out of wedlock into your marriage, you as a woman? Because your responsibility is your child, right? Before it becomes a man's child. Is that the case?
Yeah, of course. Because they usually say that the legitimacy of the woman, of the mother, is natural. Just to delivery. It always assumes that the child emanates from the mother. So that means that the responsibility starts from the mother and not from the husband. Because for the husband, or that's for the father, you have to try to do some tests, try to ascertain that he's actually the father of that child.
DNA.
Exactly. So when we move from this starting point, that means the responsibility, the principal and paramount responsibility lies on the mother. The point is that here in Africa, we believe that children born out of wedlock, there are mistakes, accidents. It's a shame to the family. Definitely. It's a problem. But us as women, as mothers, we must know that I have that responsibility for the upbringing of this child. If I leave this child with my mom or with my sister, are they going to educate, train that child the way I would have done? Most of the time, it will not be the same. And who is going to blame? Who are you going to blame? You're going to blame your mother tomorrow if you leave your child to your mom.
And the women were like, if I take my child to my marriage, maybe the child come and spoil my marriage. There are women who have that.
Unfortunately, Maureen, I also believe that we should explore the possibility of leaving your children with your parents. I grew up with my grandmother from the age of 2 years. I mean, I had a balanced life, love and everything.
You were lucky not to be spoiled because grandmother
I was spoiled. I was spoiled, but in a good way. So I think that there's also that possibility of leaving your child with your parents. If you see that marriage, you don't yet know the man very well, or you don't even know his behavior, his mindset, his values, his integrity. Maybe you leave your child with your parents before.
And then where are you getting into as a woman? It's an option, right? Means you yourself are going into something that you are not sure of. If your child is not secure, it means
I told you that people fall in love, they reason with their limbic brain, primitive brain, feelings. It's not, we can talk from here till tomorrow, that reason before you get into marriage, but we have people falling in love every day and making the same mistakes. It's better not to take that child at first into that kind of environment where the child might be traumatized forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with you. It's an option.
Better. Yes,
but
it's an option.
But I think the best thing is that she should go in with the child. Now we need to educate, create awareness, communication, because we have even a family-in-law of your husband to be can be traumatizing you that you're coming in with another person's child. Why all the stigmas? We need to walk into that so that it's going to facilitate also the integration of that child into the family. Yeah.
All right, Linda, I want to find out from you, when you look at the red flag, we're talking of the red flag here. What is the role of a mother when you're already in the marriage? Your children are there. What should a woman do? How do you constantly check on your daughter? I'm looking at the girl child because she's more vulnerable.
Sure. Like I said before, open communication is key. Building solid relationships with your children is key. And
when you talk about open communication, I really want you to put it down.
How do you do it?
How do you do it? Because some women say open communication, doesn't even what's open communication. I mean, give some examples.
You love your children in such a way that whatever happens with them during the day, they would come back to you and tell you that, Mommy, I had this and this and this and this. My children do that. I do affirmations with my girl children every morning. I only have girls. I tell them to believe and love themselves, and if anything goes on during the day, whether good or bad, they come back and they report. First question as my child comes in, how was your day? What happened? What were the things you liked about the day? What were the things that went wrong? Who hurt you? Whether they're your friends, whoever, open up and speak to me. And so that has built some kind of camaraderie in such a way that these girls would not do anything without reaching out to me like, hey, Mommy. Sometimes, like the last one, she would hide a little, speak up. And I will now speak up. You need to speak up. Something is wrong. Because I see from her facial expression that something is wrong and she doesn't want to tell me. So I bring her through that process of opening up and talking to me. And so she does that. So they are like my friends. Actually, my girls are my friends. We speak like I would have conversations with my sisters. It's the same way I have conversations with the girl children.
But not everybody does that, Florence, right?
Yeah, of course.
A lot of women have difficulties having a conversation with their
Work-life
girls.
balance is quite difficult nowadays with mothers going to work. Like the case that we watched, the mother was going to work, coming back late and so on. So it's difficult. But now we talk about quality time. Whenever you have time with your children, make it quality time. It means that you do things with your child.
Exactly.
So that you just have these normal conversations. In the course of doing something, doing laundry together, maybe your child will let something slip. In the case of, washing plates together, congratulating your child on their washing plates very well, maybe something would slip. It's not something that you can say, okay, 1 + 1 = 2. Building a relationship is important, but it goes through ordinary things that you do together.
Exactly. One of the things that I also prioritize is taking my children out. I do spend time with them out of home to go have fun. When we are in this process of having fun, there's a lot of casual conversations that we have that ordinarily we may not have in the house because of my schedule or their schedule, or because the environment is probably not conducive enough for us to have the conversation.
Some parents think today that because they have to, win bread, it's enough reason not to be close. If in the morning you start the day, or you barge into your child, your daughter, your boy's room, your daughter's room, you always find something that will bring out the red lights if there's something wrong. Always barge. Sometimes my daughter tell me, is your cupboard okay? Yes. I said, okay, I'm coming. You leave, I go there. I will check. I'm not checking because I want to, accuse you of something, but you may discover something that is not correct. Even children who do drugs. Even children who talk. Even children with whom you discuss every day. At a certain age, they begin to want to have their privacy.
Exactly.
And during this time, that is when, such like the young girl, some even invite those stepfathers in their lives. Because of little things. So going out with children, eating with them, there are many ways of communication.
All right. All right, Barrister, you want to add something?
So likewise, we educate our kids to go to school, to become engineers, to become, lawyers. We need to educate them to become good mothers, to become good parents, to build healthy relationships. Because most people don't have the exposure. We have the exposure here, but others, they don't have the exposure. They don't even listen to podcasts that can, empower them how to educate their kids. Because most of the examples that you gave, it's through podcasts, through exposure that you're able to, try to program, schedule the healthy relationship with your kids. I, for one, what I've tried to do, last time, I wrote an article on life, work balance, and family work-life balance. I wrote an article on it.
We actually do trainings on that.
So what was I saying in that article? I try to bring out what I do in my daily activities. So in the house, I have what we call meeting sessions with my kids. So every week I meet with my girls, I meet with my boys separately. So we exchange. They tell me how their days went through, what they like, what they don't like, what they even like from me, my own behavior. So they make me remarks, positive and negative remarks, and but I do the same thing. And beside that, even when I'm at work, I try to call. I schedule 4 p.m. The whole family, we have a call with the father, all of us. We just try to discuss how the day went before coming back in the evening. So these are some of the things that we put in place to create that bond, so that if anything happens, the child will be free to come towards you.
But my mother used to make us dance.
In this case,
all of us, she put music and we'll dance together.
In this case, the child actually told the mother that something was happening, something funny, but it's like the mother didn't pay attention. And again, she paid attention, but she did not do her checks before confronting the man. In a situation like this, if you realize something that is not well, how do you act as a woman? Because the women out there are even scared of their men. They don't even know how to approach the men. If they discover that maybe the man has been doing something funny with the child, she's just scared. She's like, my marriage or my words. Doctor.
Many women have a relationship with their men that is toxic.
Exactly.
They fear the men. They really don't even have a relationship. They are under the same roof. They deliver the children, but they don't have a relationship. And so in that case, she needed help, either from her parents, family
or friends,
family, the man's family, her church family, to help her to expose the man, because the man too might have been narcissistic too.
Exactly.
You know, a wicked narcissist. If you try to confront him, he will just scold you and beat you, and you know, he'll become violent. If it's not physical violence, he'll become verbally violent. You know, bring down your self-confidence. You are a hopeless woman. You don't even know how to have sex with me. That is why I had sex with you. You know, just run down your self-confidence. So a woman like that, you don't confront such a man by yourself. Like in the heat of the moment, you get so excited or so angry. You stupid man. You don't do things like that. Not to that kind of man.
All right. I think in that relationship, from what we saw, this woman is like she hasn't got any space in that relationship. Really. If I were to talk to her, she will have to leave from that place. She has nothing to do there, because even the other children she has, they are a problem to her. She's not able to manage them. This man has had a very strong weight on her. She has no space. She goes actually to be free.
Exactly.
She runs out of home.
Going out for a daily.
Going out for a daily becomes like
escape.
She's escaping, really. From
Now,
what I see.
always have a soft spot for buyer sellers. Imagine they leave their homes at 4 a.m. and only return at 8 p.m. In the situation, Linda, they don't check. How do you check? You say woman's tired. I mean, how do you expect her to do the check? Because this child only revealed to the aunt.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult for buyers and sellers looking at the nature of their job.
Now, what's the strategy with them? What should they do?
Like I said before, they just need to open up and communicate as much as they can with their children. No matter how much you spend time doing buy and sell, there are hours or periods of the day that you are home and that you can come into contact with these children. Spend that time to build that valuable relationship with these children.
Right.
No matter how small it is, that time is important. Talk with your girl. Talk with your husband. Like we're talking about a case where this woman has no say in that marriage. There's already a problem. It's problematic. But then, how does she come around it? She should look for support systems. Her family could be a support system. Her church group could be a support system. Maybe even some neighbor could be a support system. But she must be able to open up to these people and be able to communicate in such a way that even if this girl child cannot talk to her, this girl child knows that there is a support system somewhere that I can rely on. There is this neighbor of mine I can talk to who can bring this conversation to my mother, or this aunt or uncle or brother whom I can talk to who can bring this conversation back to me.
Barrister, the training we give to our children is not the problem. So the training, they don't denounce. How can you rape a child for 2 years and the child's unable to talk, to see that, or have confidence to tell the mother? The training we'll give to our boys and to the girls, especially the boys too.
Yeah. In as much as it's difficult to train a child, it is more difficult to train a child born out of wedlock that comes into a new marriage. So I think for the parents, for the mother most especially, she has to put in more effort in the training, as rightly said. So when we talk about training, you need to educate your child before coming into the marriage. You tell your child, okay, I'm going into this marriage. It's true that you will not be, a legitimate child in that marriage, but you have to work on your self-esteem, because most of these kids, when they go into the new marriage, they believe that they are undeserved. They are not at their right place. So you have to work on that, on their self-esteem, that they are self-worthy where they are going into. Firstly, then secondly, you have to educate on communication, that they need to open to trustworthy people. Church, you have priests, you have good parents, because not everybody is trustworthy. So you have to tell them, you have to communicate to them, even these trustworthy people in your environment, that they should not open to anybody, because most of the time you realize that sometimes your kid doesn't open to you, but you go and open to someone else. And when you don't have a chance, you go and open to a negative person, that's going to have a negative impact on you. So that's some of the things that they can do, work on the self-esteem, self-worthy, work on communication, and help them to understand that they deserve integrity, dignity, and respect, even if they are not in their natural or biological home, that they deserve that. So that in any case there's a sexual abuse, open to their wives, to their mother.
All right, we equally sampled the opinion of some women out there on the thematic of the day. If they could take their children born out of wedlock into their marriage, the consequences of all of that, the risks and the role they have to play in that marriage. Let's watch. We'll be right back just after the jingle.
Mais on le fait par que faire. Peut-être la mère est plus âgée pour s'occuper de la fille. La maman peut laisser sa fille à sa maman. Mais la grand-mère ne pourra pas bien s'occuper comme il faut de la fille. C'est pour cette raison que beaucoup de femmes amènent des enfants. Mais pour moi, je dis que ce n'est pas bon. Pourquoi? Parce que les nouveaux papas la violent toujours les petites filles qui viennent chez eux. Donc, il serait mieux pour la maman de chercher comment faire avant d'aller commencer son nouveau mariage.
Si tu trouves un homme qui t'aime, il doit pouvoir accepter tes enfants. Pourquoi laisser ses enfants hors de son mariage? Il y a des familles recomposées aujourd'hui, c'est ce qui est à la mode.
S'il s'agit de mon mariage, je vais convaincre mon homme. Ce serait une famille recomposée, avoir mon enfant à la maison. Sauf si le père de l'enfant décide de garder l'enfant et qu'il est bien gardé. Mais sinon, j'aurai mon enfant avec moi.
Si tu amènes l'enfant, il faut toujours donner des conseils à l'enfant. Si le papa là te touche la partie sexuelle, il faut crier. Pour moi, vous voyez, ou bien venir me dire, si seulement il veut te parler quelque chose de ce genre, viens me dire.
Mais les gens violent leurs propres enfants aujourd'hui, donc c'est un phénomène qui devient récurrent. Ça n'a rien de particulier parce que c'est un enfant qui est venu au mariage. C'est quelque chose qui arrive, on vit ça tous les jours. Les gens qui veulent leurs propres enfants, donc ce n'est pas quelque chose qui doit empêcher un mariage.
L'enfant sera traité comme tous les autres enfants. Donc, et à chaque fois que je verrai que le mari veut s'écarter, je vais le rappeler à l'ordre. Et à chaque fois aussi que je verrai que l'enfant ne veut pas aussi respecter l'homme, je vais recadrer l'enfant. Donc je crois que ça dépend de la gestion de l'enfant et de l'homme.
Il faut beaucoup dialoguer avec les enfants, savoir aussi écouter l'enfant, observer, voir les signes et remettre entre les mains de Dieu, parce que c'est tout ce qu'on peut faire, parce que le monde est devenu...
S'il y a une bonne relation entre la jeune fille et le papa et que l'enfant est vraiment l'enfant du papa et que le papa prenne aussi l'enfant comme son enfant, ça ne devrait pas arriver. Si ça ne devrait pas, ce n'est pas pareil, on doit seulement prier notre Dieu. Hein? Que ce soit dans la même maison ou à l'extérieur, si ça doit arriver, ça va arriver.
Il n'y a pas de choix à faire entre l'enfant de quelqu'un d'autre qui est mon mari et mon enfant. Je choisis mon enfant. Je n'ai pas envie de penser à ça parce que j'ai vraiment pas envie de penser à ça. Mais je pense, s'il décide que c'est la fille qu'il veut, et que je peux me séparer ou je peux ne pas, ça va dépendre.
Je choisis les deux, mais il faut beaucoup de travail pour réussir.
Welcome back. Someone just joined us, but she is a young lady. She is a Miss Christian Cameroon. Call her Lynn Kelly Fox. I don't know the name Fox, but nothing is African. But she's African. She's Cameroon born. Hello, Link.
Thank you very much, Mom Maureen.
How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
All right, we're doing great. Now, tell us about you. Tell us about Link Kelly Fox.
Thank you. By the way, it's Ning Kelly Fox.
Okay.
First of all, Ning Kelly Fox, all you must know about Ning Kelly Fox is that she's an entrepreneur, she's a journalist, she did corporate communication in digital marketing. Presently, she is going in for Miss Christian Cameroon. By the way, she is the Miss African United Cameroon 2024. So she's going in for another adventure.
Now, what's Miss Christian Cameroon? What's it all about?
Miss Christian Cameroon is a competition that takes place in Boya, precisely, during the month of October, and they're buying on vulnerables, like orphanages, like children that are in the street. They want to bring something new to those children. So Miss Christian Cameroon helps, it targets young ladies like me, passionate young ladies that can bring something new, like can innovate the vulnerables and the orphans on a project that they can work on.
I must be a Christian to be part of them, because I'm seeing Miss Christian, so I'm looking at Christianity.
Definitely, you must not, you must trust God. You must not be in a church like community, but you must trust God.
Now, why did you decide to be a Miss? What's the added advantage for you?
Thank you very much for that question. Ever since I was a kid, I've always to work view myself, like imagine myself walking on a podium where people are clapping for me, whatever. Oh, wow. But when I grew up, I came to realize the responsibilities, like you putting on this crown it's not just a metal on your head, but it's for you to use that crown in order to impact the life of others. There are people out there that are really waiting to listen to you, to follow you, just based on the impact you have in their lives. Miss Christian Cameroon has a platform, and I feel like I'm going to use that platform in order to educate the orphanages on how to make money using going digital. Okay. Yeah, going digital. I'm planning to build an app that is known as a meet app, whereby orphanages can interact with those that are outside, and they can come together and they share out their experience. And by sharing out their experience, they can be able to get in touch with each other and to build to use their laptops, their phones, in order to do marketing and to have some fun.
So how old are you?
23.
What's your education? What's your background?
Thank you very much. I'm 23 years old. Tomorrow we're making me 23 years old on the 20th of May. Thank you. I'm 23 years old. Sorry about that. But presently I'm doing digital marketing in FIPMAT University. Okay. I had a bachelor's degree just recently in digital marketing.
Now, what's your project for young girls? I heard you talking about orphanages. I'm hearing about needs. What's your project for young girls watching you right now?
Okay, my project goes thus. I'm planning to, if I'm on an opportunity to become the Miss Christian Cameroon 2025, definitely I'm going to set in place a platform whereby young girls and orphanages and those vulnerables, they'll be able to meet in touch with us. We are going to have a skill, like a platform whereby we have skills to train them. Like skills, like for instance, if I walk around, I'll definitely work with 3 orphanages. Those 3 orphanages, I'm going to be able to, on the en français, cibler, like to target their competence. For instance, if I work in the first orphanage and I come to realize that 15% of them, they're good in hairdressing, then I'm going to put in a member of my team that does hairdressing so well to train them for a free training or a free course for almost like one month or 2 months. And by training them for a free course, they'll be able to use that skill now in order to maximize their own profit. Right. And still then, I can still take example for instance, since I'm a digital marketer, I can decide like we target another enterprise, another orphanage, and we come to realize that in this orphanage, there are many people that they have the anxiety, they have the desire to study about digital marketing in order to make funds. So I'll teach them the skills and tell them and provide some items, like elements for them to use in order to maximize their own profits.
We're glad to have you. Wish you good luck.
Thank you.
In your projects, you're young girl. I'm sure other young girls watching right now.
Thank you.
I want to be like you. But now you have so many projects towards the young girls, and maybe I've been motivated towards you. And you've been become Miss Christian. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we continue with our topic of the day, and we're talking about mothers taking their children born out of wedlock into marriage. And Dr. Fon is here. We have Linda, we have Barista, that is here, we have Florence that will be joining us back. And now I want to see some women have difficulties, doctor, checking the red flag. Like if now your child has changed, is it easy to know that your child's attitude has changed if you've been conversing with the child, having dialogue with the child? And how do you notice that? Because in this case, I think that the mother would have noticed that the daughter has a problem.
The truth is that mothers notice. You know, mothers have this sixth sense. I don't know whether it's through the umbilical cord or something. You know your child so well. Even if you spend just a little time with the child, you know your child very well. And sometimes you know that this child has changed. I can't put my finger on what is happening, but my child has changed. I know practically it takes a little conversation. You come back at 8 p.m. You come back on the market at 8 p.m. You just go and sit on your daughter's bed. how was it? You know, the market today was so tough. That's why I'm coming back at 8 p.m. I'm trying to do this so that I can make ends meet, take care of your needs. I need your help. Your help is that you study well in school. Your help is that you tell me if anything is going wrong with you, because if you don't tell me, I will not be able to sell well. You know, you have that kind of conversation with your child. And when you see the red flags, don't just bash into the child and start blaming the child.
There's a strategy, right?
There's a strategy. Yeah, there's a strategy. You start by telling the child the things that the child does well and why you appreciate and thank God for this child. And then you go on to ask about the red flags. What happened that this happened? Not like blaming, just like, I want to know. Please explain. The child might not explain at the first try. No problem. You let it be. Another time again, you engage in the conversation. Maybe when you are washing plates or doing things like that together. Yes, you try to know more. Just, you know, you do it small. And it takes a whole village to bring up a child. Maybe we should go back to that. In your environment, with your sixth sense, you know that this grandmother is always saying at home, that grandmother can watch out for my child. Yes, and you tell your child, if I'm not there, you have a problem, you can talk to this grandmother. You can talk to this person, you see. Like talking to the auntie was a good thing. Because that child could have, you know, committed suicide without telling anyone. And tell the people when your child is talking, let them just listen without judging.
All right. That's where I wanted to come in. Barrister, you don't judge. Because even with domestic violence cases, when women go to report them, even in police stations, women see they are being judged. In the children cases like this, even with children, you start blaming the child, you start judging the child just because you've heard that the child maybe has issues, maybe with the man or what. How do you do it? Because when you start judging the child, then you're pushing the child.
They just shut up.
You're just telling the child not to stop again.
I have the opportunity to listen to many women that come to the office, you know, with their sometimes divorce matters or, you know, child abuse. And there's something I've realized. Most women, they put in their energy in investigating in their husband's life than investigating in their children's life. And that sixth sense doctor was talking about, the habit relating to their husband's life, that they have the sixth sense that, no, this man is teaching on me, this man is unfaithful. But what about their kids? We divert our energy, our emotions only on our husbands, and we neglect our kids. So each time I tell to those women when they come to my office, I tell them that, yes, you know, you have all these reports because you're an investigation officer. You have all these reports, right? Relating to the adultery, relating to the adultery of your husband. Now, what about your child? Because I ask them questions to create, you know, set awareness that what about your child? You put in that effort, that energy relating to your child. When you come back, do you watch your child's behavior to see if there is any difference? They don't do that. So it's through questioning. Instead of blaming them, I just try to question them in order to bring up their conscience so that they should be more conscious relating to the protection of their child.
Exactly. Florence, strategy here?
Yes, in relationships, people should understand that even in marriage, each person has a margin of liberty. It's not because you are married that you don't have any time for yourself. Even with children, you create awareness, you sensitize, but you know how to do it. It's not that you will not scowl your child, no. You will, but you bring a lesson out of that. I have shouted now because, and the child will see whenever you come out. Because like the case of this child was far, the mother was far. The man had built a bridge, a fence between each of. It's like a principle of diviser pour mieux régner. That's what I analyze from my sixth sense. So most of the time we focus on investigating on essential things and we let go, you know, we let things go.
And practically, Maureen, we should also make the children to have this team spirit between them, protective of each other. I bring a child into marriage. I deliver other children into marriage. They should be able to protect each other. Meaning that when you have a girls' meeting or a boys' meeting, you tell them to protect each other. So that the children can also see the red flags and come to you and say, Mama,
there's something wrong.
Yeah.
This happened.
Yes.
And just to add to what Doc is saying, you know, like that's what I've done, built unity amongst my children. If I don't pick up a red flag, one of the kids will pick it up from the other.
Definitely.
That's how it usually goes. My third daughter, for example, sometimes it's difficult getting things out of her, but I will get her elder sister to get that out of her. And in the twinkle of an eye, she gets the information and she gives it back to me. There is this and this. And then I now go back. All right, can we talk? Can we talk on this? Because now I already know what is happening. So you need to be able to build that relationship, that team spirit amongst your children. It's important.
I totally agree with you, and I think that's what I'm trying to do, you know, to create that unity, that bond between the kids. Because there are certain things, as Riley said, that I can neglect, or you know, it can keep out of my mind, but that my second daughter can see, oh mom, there's this. That's why even in school I usually tell them that during break, go and watch over the third born, watch if everything is okay. Because he might not have that spirit to come and tell me that, mom, this is what happened to me. But the second will come and tell me that I observed things.
They used to call the younger one Mars baby. My first daughter had her junior sister in school, Mars baby. You know, Leslie's mother. You know, she was only in class 5 with the junior brother in class 3, but that was a baby. And you give them that responsibility. And you value them when they do it, like, thank you. Thank you. I really depend on you to protect your junior.
All right. We're running to the end of the program. I would like you to have your last words to women out there. Marital, I'll start with you. Look at the camera out there. It's your camera. You're talking to a woman out there. You're telling her something about the thematic of the day. You're giving her solution, a strategy. I don't know what you're telling her. Over to you.
So to all the women out there, I would like you, each time you go into a marriage with children born out of wedlock, you need to work on your economic empowerment, educational empowerment, and emotional empowerment, because that's going to help you to know the husband you're going to marry, if he's going to be able to take care of your child as if it was his. And it's also going to help you to educate your child on her self-esteem, her self-worthy. That's going to help her to know that she needs to be respected, she needs love, she needs affection, and not abuse. And to the civil society, I would like us to consider that we all have that responsibility to create a society of love, of compassion, of affection, and of respect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Florence. You look at the camera in front of you. You're talking to a woman out there. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know your message to her, but it concerns to this thematic.
We need to love ourselves first. We do not love ourselves enough, and we can't love others when we don't love ourselves. If we have to set something in our families, we need to stand firm. We need to hold the flag. We need to show the world, but show the world in little actions that build something concrete. The society is failing because we've taken everything as for granted. So things happen, they fall, things fall apart. Yes, that's the right word I was looking for. We do not have to let things fall apart. We have to mend things. We have to lift them up. We have to elevate everything, because God creates us at His image. We are beautifully made. So we have to be bright. We have to shine.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Your camera.
Okay, to all women out there, I would say that there is really no one size fits all in such a situation about children out of wedlock. But what I would say is that find time as a woman to understand the spouse you're getting married to. It's important. Building relationship takes you understanding values, cultures, self-esteem of an individual before you get involved with them. I know sometimes in our vulnerability as women, in our rush, you know, to getting into a marriage or looking for a safe space, we would hurriedly get into relationships with people we really do not know. Take your time to court, take your time to understand who you're getting involved with into marriage, because it's not only about you going to love, it's a whole baggage you're carrying to this love. It's your children. It's the life of your children you're putting into the hands of someone you call a husband. It's important that we as women know these things and set our priorities right. The interest of your child, the interest of your children should be your priority. And so if it gets really nasty, please do well to pick out those red flags and take the necessary moves that you need to take to make sure that your children are safe and you are safe as well.
All right, I know Dr. Fon Elizabeth, you're looking at the camera in front of you, directly in front of you. You're talking to women out there.
Hello, Mom. Hello, Mom. See, you too can be Dr. Mom. You love your child, you heal your child. Please, don't think that you are not capable. You are more than you think. So, if you really have problems and you cannot do it alone, we have the Toujours Center. We are there for you. You don't need to carry the load alone. Come and let's talk. And let's see how we can have practical skills that you can use to help yourself, to help your children, and even to help the man, because he too might be in trauma. He might have been traumatized in his childhood. He's behaving without knowing. So let us see what we can do to heal our society. Dr. Mom, you can do it.
And thank you so much, ladies, for responding to an invitation. I'm sure all the mothers out there have learned from today's topic. They have picked out something that will eventually change their mindset regarding their marriage, their girl, children, boys, or whatsoever. But at least they'll be on the guards when it comes to their marriage and protecting their children in that marriage. The program was Women and Leadership on Canal International. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.